raise sheep and goats long enough, it doesn't take long to realize that what works on paper doesn't always work in the barn or in the pasture. That's why this podcast exists. Welcome back, folks, to another episode of the Profitable Sheep and Goat Production Podcast. I'm Leon Gaiman with Lost Creek Wholesale, your supplier of Ramquip sheep and goat handling equipment and your distributor of Universal Feeders, the ultimate saliva lick feeder. I'm also a sheep producer here at LC Ranch in northwestern Pennsylvania, and I'm joined by my friend Matt Nault from Glenbrook Farms, who brings his own hands-on experience from a commercial sheep operation. On this podcast, we take a look at what actually works and what doesn't on our own operations as well as on the operations of the producers we interview. Our goal is simple: to learn together, share honest experiences, and uncover the management decisions and systems that make sheep and goat production more profitable. And if you got a question or a topic you'd like to hear discussed, remember, we'd love to hear from you. Feel free to give us a call at 717-310-3641. Select the option for podcast questions and leave us a voicemail. And now, let's dig into today's episode. Welcome back again, folks, to another episode of the Profitable Sheep and Goat Production Podcast. Today's the first episode of the new year. Hope you all had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Today is Wednesday, January 7th. It's just going to be Matt and I today. How are you doing, Matt?
Good. We're getting ready for lambing.
Yeah, you bet. We got some ewes that are looking really, really close. I think we're about 2 weeks away from the 147-day mark, so we should see lambs here any day. So today we want to talk a little bit about being prepared or preparing for lambs. I know that I actually just got a box from Premier just on Saturday, I believe, and I got another box coming from Shearwell here.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, it better be here before before next week sometime.
You're ahead of me. I just ordered my Shearwell tags today, but I think they told me it's 5 or 7 day lead time. So
Okay.
I should have them in time.
Yeah. I think that I saw that mine shipped, but up here where we get snow this time of the year, I don't know, UPS and FedEx can be a little bit of a pain.
You're saying it might be springtime till they show up?
Hey, you never know. I have literally had to run after, like, you track a package. Like, if you go on Amazon, you track a package and you can actually see where the truck is on the map.
Yeah.
And I'll see him, oh, yep, I think he's gonna do it today. He's gonna brave the hill and come down my gravel road. And you'll look an hour later and he's headed back up through to Erie. I'm like, guys, I need that stuff. I ran after a truck a time or two and said, "You got a package for me?"
Yeah.
Anyway, then I told him to just put it on the neighbor's porch up on the Macadam Road. Well, then every day he saw 2 flurries, he started just dropping it there. It seemed like. But anyway, yeah, hopefully we definitely want to have those EID tags here on time, because that's not fun to. Well, I don't know. I don't even want to figure out what I would do. You'd manually type in the ear tag and then come back later and try and pair an EID tag to it, I guess. Wouldn't be the worst thing.
Yeah, that was actually, I got a little list together of pre-lambing things, or things that we use for lambing, and tags was the top of my list, just because that's usually the first thing I worry about, because it takes the longest to get here. Although Shearwell's pretty on it anymore. When they were still printing them over in UK or wherever, it was 2-3 weeks till we would get them. But yeah, that's always my biggest concern, because most of the other stuff we can substitute for, or get at our local farm store, or make out somehow.
Right.
If we don't have our tags, we're in bad shape.
Yeah, with your Shearwell EID tags, are you ordering them with a tag file, or are you manually
They
pairing them?
they always send the tag file, but I don't use that,
Okay.
because if you use the tag file, that
Tag has to
that
go.
tag is populated as a name in the system right away, and that's not what I want to do. I put that tag in, and then I put my flock tag in, which would start with my first tag would be 26001 is where I would start this year. So that would be the first lamb, and then I want that as the name of the lamb. So the flag tag foul
Yeah.
would flag foul. The tag foul would be if you were not putting a flock tag in, then you could just scan that tag and it would be that would be the name of that lamb. So for larger commercial flocks, that's all they would use.
Just trying to follow your theory. So I I got tag files a year or two. But then if you have any leftover tags, once they're in the computer, you don't really there's not really a way to go and unconnect that tag. The
Hmm.
tag file basically takes the 16-digit number, 16, right? 12, 4, whatever it is, 15, takes that long number and pairs it with an on-farm management number, right?
No.
Yeah, so when I ordered a tag
Mm.
file, they could set it so that when I scanned this
Oh,
EID tag, it would automatically show up as LCR 26001.
okay. I so I never did that. I didn't know that that's an option.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, what you're saying then is, then it's you gotta match that tag to the right lamb,
Exactly.
which how do you keep track of that?
Well, you can even get printed on that tag your management number, LCR 26001.
Okay, yeah, but we use our EID tag as our scrapey tag.
I do
So
too.
that needs to be that scrapey barcode or whatever they give you.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe they don't let you do an on-farm management number and a scrapey tag number on
I
the
don't
same
think
tag.
so.
But
I
you can pair the scrapey tag to your management number. So I use a scrapey tag.
Right.
Yeah, so I put the EID tag in my lamb,
Yeah.
and I use a visual tag then too from Premiere
Yeah.
that says LCR 26001 or whatever for the first lamb.
Okay. Yeah.
And when I put that tag, the EID tag in the lamb's ear, first time I beep it, it says this tag's not paired to an animal. And that's when I type in and
Right.
that's how you do it too, right?
Yeah. That.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are you putting in for your visual tag?
The Shearwell.
Just
Just
Shearwell none EID.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
okay.
then we do that color coded. Every year is a different color.
Yeah. So
Which
so what
we're at 9 years. No, we're at 10 years now. 9 years, and I think they have. There's only one more color I can use. I
well,
think.
and you probably don't have any 9-year-old ewes left, so
I still have some of those first use. Yeah,
so
very few.
yeah, but so you're getting to the point where you can
Right.
switch anyway, it's
Y-
not gonna overlap.
Right. We'll restart the
Yeah,
color scheme, but
yeah.
but what I was gonna say, and we'll get to our lambing needs eventually. What I was gonna say is they send a flock fowl with those EID tags automatically. And one year, I think it was like the second year I used it, I didn't know any better. Flock fowl came, so I put it into the system. Well, then when I scanned that, put that EID tag in a lamb and scanned it, that code came up as its name. So I had to go back and delete the file because I couldn't. I mean, I could have manually changed it in the computer later on, but I couldn't enter it the way I
Yeah,
wanted.
it'd be a circus.
So then it would have been, if I'm a commercial farm where I don't want necessarily a flock number for each lamb, you just put that tag in, you scan it, and you don't have to punch any numbers in.
Yeah,
You're
so
good to go.
you're basically tracking that animal by the big number, by the big
Yeah,
lamb number.
by its barcode, EID number, whatever
Yeah.
that. So
Yep. So the reason I don't like the tag file is those EID tags. I like to order if you get too many for 1 year, or let's say you have some other sheep loses an EID tag.
yeah,
You have those tags linked to a tag file. You can't really use it. Now I can keep those I can get enough tags for
right.
3 years, and I can pull one of them tags out and I can pair that EID to any management tag I want. And you can
Yeah.
just keep using them. And then you use your visual tag, the one you're going to look at is the one that you can use your color coordination, whatever you want to do there.
So your visual tags, are those pre-printed?
What I like to do is guesstimate how many lambs we're going to have that year, get them printed, and then get, maybe 20 or 40 unprinted, like
No.
1 or 2 packs that I can handwrite on.
Yeah. Yeah,
Once they're printed and you don't use them all, then to me, they're junk.
right. Because you don't want to use them.
Yeah.
And that's I've had that discussion with quite a few people already. With the printed tags, well, how do you know how many to order? Well, the
Because
Shearwell tags that I'm getting are really cheap. I mean, I think they're 10 or 20 cents a piece.
yeah,
So
20.
I just make sure I order enough, and if I have 50 or 100 left at the end of the year, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Or like oftentimes I order close to what I think I'm gonna need for the year, and then before my fall lambing, I'll check, see how many lambs we're expecting, see how many tags we have, and I can order again if I need to. But um, yeah, I should know. I actually just ordered some. I'm sure I could look it up.
I got it right here. So right now, the the RFID tags are running $1.18 a piece. And if you just want a visual tag with no glass in it, they say, which would mean it does not have a chip in it, no EID tag, those are 21 cents.
Yeah,
And these
yeah,
tags, those Shearwell tags stay in really good.
yeah, they do. Yeah, the only time I had trouble with losing them was we had some pretty big openings in the wire on our fence line feeders, and the ewes started sticking their heads through there, and then the tags would catch on there and they'd rip them out. But they're
Yeah.
they're as good as anything for staying in.
Yep.
Uh, so while we're doing the Shearwell promotion, have you tried their Turbo Tiger?
I was trying to decide if I should bring that up or not.
I
I actually
I just
called.
ordered one.
You did.
Yeah.
It's not going to be here for a long time.
Oh, really? They didn't
That's
say.
what Dan Persons just told me that anyway, just like 2 weeks ago.
Huh. Yeah, they didn't say anything when I ordered my tags today, so I don't know.
I asked him if those things are as good as they look in the video. That was
Yeah.
my question. And he used one. See, you can get one that has a straight stick on it. They don't have that on their website.
That might only be in UK, yeah, because they roll everything out there first.
Well, maybe that's why he said what he did. He said, I used one in the lambing barn the last couple years and liked it. It was the flat cartridge type and not the round drum type. Okay.
Hmm.
Tags loaded easy. I did not have to fumble around in my tagging box for tags. Don't think that they will have that in stock in the US until February. All right. So I think
Yeah,
he's talking about the cartridge type, the flat cartridge type ones.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I knew I saw the flat one being used somewhere in a video, I thought. But yeah, maybe that's one that's just not available here yet.
Well, and I don't think that one would work for me. I guess I could have two of them because I put a EID tag in and then a flock tag. So with the drums, I can preload them that way. So I always have an EID tag and then the next is a flock tag.
Yeah, what if that drum starts going around the wrong way and you go and start pairing their
Well, no, you don't. They're not paired.
Oh, they're not yet. Yeah, true.
Yeah. Now the only thing would be I like to be my sequencing numbers, so I think the drum only so I have to know which way the drum goes around when I load them, and then I gotta grab the right drum too, but I think that'll be cool because, yeah, fumbling around for tags is not fun, and I am always looking for ways to cut down time in the lambing barn,
Yeah.
processing lambs.
Right now they have a deal, and maybe they've had this for a while. If you order 200 tags, you get a free applicator
Or,
or save
or
28 or save 28 bucks on that turbo tagger with the
yep,
cartridge.
yep.
So I got 200 tags and I took the opportunity to get another applicator because boy, you don't if your fancy applicator breaks,
Yeah,
you're kind of up the creek.
yeah.
So, all right, enough on ear tags.
Well, I think maybe I mean, me and you both use a Shearwell system, but just something to throw out there is consider what kind of records you're going to keep. Have one of those little lambing notebooks. You know, if you don't have a Shearwell system, um, be prepared for that. If you do have those lambing notebooks, don't lay them down. Sheep and especially goats will eat them, and they'll start on the pages that are most important to you.
Oh, that used to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the Katahdin Association makes a nice little lambing book,
Yeah.
and I have a stack of those things. I got to the point that every few days I'd get my phone, I'd snap pictures like, okay, we entered these 2 pages of lambs over the last 3 days. I'd go snap, snap, snap because if I lost that paper, wasn't cool. We'll just
Yeah.
say that.
Yep. Yeah.
Um, another the Shepherd magazine, or is it called the Sheep magazine now? They also offer a little lambing record book, very similar. It's a nice little fits in your shirt pocket. I even got a stack of them. They gave me a bunch to hand out. We were at an event they were at, and they gave all the vendors a bunch of these little lambing booklets. They're pretty
They
handy.
Yeah, those are really nice because before I had one like that, I think my first one was just like a sheet of paper on a clipboard. Well, those things are really easy for them to get a hold of and trample or whatever. These little lambing books, at least you can stick in your shirt pocket, like you said, or your bucket or whatever.
Yeah. So while we're talking about ear tags, yeah, I should ask this. You put what ear do you put your visual tag in? Right or your left?
I put them in my left because when we run them through my system, I'm always standing on the left side, so that's the easiest to scan.
There you go.
Yeah,
Do you tag a ram lamb different than a ewe lamb?
no,
Okay.
no. I could
Yeah.
see why guys do that, but I that would be confusing for me in the lambing barn. It would be nice when you're sorting lambs out. Um I could yeah, that would be really nice. They come down the chute and you know which way to send them, so
Yeah, I tag ewe lambs with the visual tag in the right and ram lambs in the left. That's what we've been doing for years, and
yeah.
it you just have to swap your EID tag around to the other year then.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So what else do you like to have on hand? I'm trying to think what else I got in my box
Well,
from
the
here.
next well, yeah, lambing jugs, of course. I mean, we're not gonna get into the how we do lambing too much, but you gotta think about having some sort of lambing jugs and getting them set up hopefully before they start lambing. But then
Is
as
that how
far
you
as
do? Is that how seriously how you do that? You set them up before the lambs come.
That's how you're supposed to do that. Actually, I have my barn set up now. I know we're not gonna get into how we do our lambing, but we just did. So I have my barn set up now where the lambing jugs stay on the wall right by the pen. So at any time I can just go in there, pull panels down and set up 5 lambing jugs just like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Mine are covered in snow yet, but we're gonna get them out here one of these days very soon.
the next thing I always think about Well, actually, before I go into that, s- one thing to think about is having a prolapse harness or stitches on hand, whatever you prefer. If you've never had a prolapse, um, maybe don't worry about it and you won't jinx yourself. You're gonna have one at one time or the other, so you gotta know what you're gonna do for that. I quit using the harness and the retainers. I really like just stitching them shut. And if you want to know how to do that, you can get the Pipestone Vet book, and it demonstrates it in there.
That harness, the prolapse harness, over the years, well, there was a year early on that we had a bad stretch of it, and I probably had 7 of those things. We were lambing 200 ewes that year, and they were just it was a combination of problems. But anyway, I bet I only have 1 or 2 on the farm anymore, and they aren't the ones we had back then, because what would happen is guys would call me 8 o'clock at night or whatever. "Hey, I got a ewe and she's prolapsing. What do I do?" I'm like, "Do you have a harness?" "No, I don't." "Well, I got one. Come down and get it."
Yeah,
I I sold so many used prolapse harnesses over over the years.
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things when you need it, you got to do something about it. And yeah,
Yeah.
I actually never used the harness. I never had a prolapse harness. I maybe should, depends who you ask, but before we started using stitches, we would just put the retainers in and we just rig up a harness with like baler twine to hold the retainer in basically. But yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, so the next thing I always think about is what I need for tube feeding lambs. So to have the tubes, the little syringe thing, I still like those syringes. I don't know what you would call them with a tip on it. There is some little bottles or cans that you can get, but I never got along real good with those. I like the feeding tubes and those syringes, and I like the tubes that Premier One sells. There's some others out there that are a little smaller, but a lot stiffer, and I don't like those. They're too small, so the milk goes down harder, and because they're stiffer, seems like you could poke a lamb more with them. The softer ones, you kinda have to let work down the throat a little bit.
So, which one? So I had one years ago that was pretty stiff. I'd always dip it in warm water before I tubed the lamb to make it a little bit more flexible. And since some time I got some, but I don't think it was from Premier, and it was
Yeah, I don't think they carry those smaller, stiffer ones. When I got them, I always picked them up local at a, farm supply store or something.
okay.
Um, yeah, probably like I don't know if I never got one at Tractor Supply, but I would imagine they probably have those.
Yeah. I I had one of those trusty tubers with the little canister on it
Yeah,
from Premier.
yeah.
I don't think I like it quite as well as the one I'm just looking on Premier's website right now. They have a clear tubed one with a red tip on it. That's the one I liked.
Okay.
And I just had one of those big syringes. Do you do you just do you fill the syringe with milk before you tube, or do you insert the tube and then fill it with milk?
Yeah, so I have a little Algene bottle with my milk in it, and then I'll fill the like with because it's a syringe, I can just pull up on the syringe and sock the milk into it,
Yep.
and then I leave it there in the bottle, and I'll have my tube I'll usually have in that bottle hanging in the milk. So first one, it's lubricated and it's nice and warm. Then I'll put the tube down the lamb's mouth and then put the syringe on. and let the milk run down.
So you don't push the plunger in. You'd have to.
Well, the proper way is to let it run down. I may sometimes push the plunger in.
That's what I wanted to hear what you would say. But it won't come out of the syringe with the plunger in.
Right. So I have it pulled back all the way. So once I'm ready for it to go down, I just pull this plunger out the rest of the way. A
Right.
little
You,
bit, and
you
then the
almost
milk
just
runs in.
you almost gotta just cock it to the side and it pops right out.
Yeah.
Kind of.
But I will say most times anymore, I just slowly push the plunger in. I know that's not how they want you to do it, but it seems to work.
Yeah.
Um,
You just have to be very careful. You don't want to force it.
yeah, you want to be slow. And
Yeah.
if you're putting colostrum or anything like that in, anything that's a little bit thicker, you almost have to push it in. It won't go in.
Yep.
Um, yeah. Oh. So yeah, along that same line, so tube feed. Oh, for tubing lambs, I don't know, Land, do you have one of those baby Breeza milk mixing machines?
No, I don't. I mean, I know you've talked about it, and I know Dan Turner talks about his. I think that's where
Yeah.
the idea came from, probably.
Yeah, Dan's where I got the idea from. Man, that is the slickest thing. So it's actually for human babies. So it's just this little mixing machine, and you put powder at the top, you have a water in the back, and then so the water's preheated, and once you have it set to for your concentrate you want, all you got to do is hit that button. How many you can do up to 10 ounces at a time, and you just hit that button and it squirts it out. The right amount of milk replacer powder. It's warm. Um, it's not something you want to use necessarily to bottle feed lambs because you can't mix a lot, but it's really great for tubing lambs where, I'll just, if we're mid to lambing, I'll just fill a bottle with maybe 40, 50 cc's of milk replacer out of that thing and go back to the lambing barn and tube. Or if I have one lamb that needs tubed, I just hit 5 cc's and um comes out warm, mixed, ready to go tube, not no mess.
No
That
clumps,
thing's
no
slick.
clumps in it.
No clumps in it. I put it in my Algene bottle so and then shake it up. Yeah, it's not, I should say it's not like all mixed and shook up or anything. It's just dispensing the powder and the water in the right amount. So then I put a
Okay,
cap on my bottle and shake it up. Yeah.
gotcha. So now
Yeah.
what's this bottle you keep talking about?
A little Algene bottle, like
What
just a little water, 2-liter water bottle with a cap on the top.
and what are you calling it? I never heard that name.
Algene. I don't know. That's what I always called it.
I don't know. Yeah, never heard the term.
It's a little 2-liter, I think they're 2-liter, 1-liter water bottle.
Gotcha.
And it's just the right size that, well, one, it has a cap, so I can put my milk replacer in there, put the cap on, shake it up, and then I take the cap off, stick my tube in there and my syringe, and it's just the right size for that. I can set it on the wall in the lambing barn as I'm tubing them.
Yeah, is this what you're talking about right here?
Yeah. Yep.
You know what? I have one of them, but I didn't know that's what they were called.
That's what I
I
always call it.
I found it at
And the
Dollar
one
General.
with the wide top there is perfect.
I got it at Dollar General or somewhere, and I thought it was just a cat's meow because I can put milk replacer and milk in there, and I can
Yep.
shake it. The
Yep.
lid stays with it. Hey,
And you can see how many ounces
yep.
you still have in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that thing's awesome for tube feeding lambs.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Baby Breeze, I imagine there's other brands that make that too. But I don't know. That's the one I have. And of course you have to figure when it comes, you have to play with it a bit to get your concentrate right because they they have a chart for baby milk, but they don't have a chart for lamb milk replaces, so you have to play with it a bit. But
Right.
now it's just a matter of hit that button and it's ready to go.
We're going to pause for a quick break here and put a plug in for an event that is happening in Lancaster, Pennsylvania on February 25th. It's the 2026 Pennsylvania 4-H Conference. It's happening there at the Farm Center in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's a full day of education and networking. They have several guest speakers coming in. One of them is Janet McNally from Tamarack Lamb and Wool. She's having a talk on the benefits of mob stock grazing. She's also having a talk on finishing lambs on pasture. Janet McNally has quite a bit of experience in regenerative farming as well as sheep production. And she's also, I would say, she's an authority on livestock guardian dogs. I bought a dog from Janet quite a few years back. There's a topic on maximizing forage efficiency, equipment choices that improve hay quality, one on silage, one on intercropping systems for corn silage production in Pennsylvania. So early bird registration, you need to register before February 13th. Or if you want to learn more about it, you can either visit their website or you can call 814-355-2467 or email paforagegrassland@gmail.com. So if you're looking for a day of education and you're in the area there near Lancaster, Pennsylvania, February 25th. While we're talking about milk replacer and tube feeding, that kind of stuff, do you keep any colostrum supplement on hand?
Yeah. Yeah. So I like to have some frozen colostrum on hand. If I get any extra, I'll freeze it. And the way I freeze mine is I put 5 ounces because that's usually what I want to feed at a time. I put it in a Ziploc bag and then lay it flat in the freezer.
Mhm.
That way it freezes real thin, so it doesn't take me long to heat it up. Because
Right.
you don't want to heat it up too fast, but like that, you can just either lay it out for a little bit and it'll start unthawing, or put it in warm water and it'll just warm up right away without overheating it or anything. Um,
Y- Yeah, I know we've had one of those utterly easy hand milkers for quite a few years now, back when we had those two dairy sheep.
yeah,
And that thing comes in really handy if you need a milk a ewe, if you need
yeah,
colostrum, whether you need a tube of lamb right now or whether you want to store some.
yeah.
I really like that thing. When you're freezing colostrum, you're just milking one by hand, I suppose.
Yeah, milking them by hand, and I'll do that too, if you have a ewe that's not letting her lambs nurse, or if the lambs are too weak to nurse, I'll just hand milk the ewe and feed that colostrum
Right.
right there. Yeah,
I mean, that's always the best. That's better than any
yeah,
powdered
yeah.
supplement you can get.
But then as far as powdered supplement, actually, I grabbed the can I have here. I get from Premier One again. They have their Nursemate Colostrum supplement is what they call it, but
Right.
it's as close to a colostrum as you're gonna get. So I always get that. And then they also have a Nursemate First Milk supplement. That's kind of the next one to use after the colostrum. So I always get those two and I'll use them. Yeah, so yeah, clostrum's definitely something you want to think about. So if you have a lamb that didn't get any colostrum from their mom, and as I'm saying this, I'm remembering we're not getting into how we do lambing, but since we did, if you have a lamb that's not getting any colostrum from mom, how much colostrum or how often do you give them colostrum?
If I have to go to all the work of milking a ewe, it's probably only going to get it one time. Now, I'm not saying that's the way it
Yeah,
should be, but
yeah.
if
I usually try to do it twice.
yeah, if
Yeah.
I had some stored, like if I milked out, you know, 10 ounces out of a ewe or something,
Mhm.
I guess the lamb would probably finish that bottle. I would just warm it in
Warm
water.
it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm definitely not going to go back the next day and milk again, try to get a little more colostrum in. That's
Yeah. Well, but sometimes you have to, if those lambs aren't nursing, you should go milk that ewe out anyway. So she keeps producing milk. But
all these are just like weak lambs that can't get up and nurse.
yeah, well, I'm just saying if that's a scenario, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. What I'll do sometimes if I'm, which usually is the case, I don't have a lot of frozen colostrum. So then usually that first feeding I'll give frozen colostrum. Then I'll do this nursemaid colostrum and then maybe the first milk supplement colostrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That actually sounds like a there's it's just hard to beat colostrum from a ewe. It's on your farm that has all the goodies in it.
But they say even if you have a dairy cow or if your neighbor has dairy cows, if you get colostrum from them, that's still better than any of the artificial colostrums you'll get.
Right. You have to lose some of the biology when they dry that stuff down and
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of you can't.
I have raised lambs already without any colostrum. It is possible, but it's not ideal for sure.
Yeah.
It's worth the while getting that colostrum in. Matter of fact, I know some people that'll go along and milk every one of their ewes and tube feed that first colostrum into the lambs to make sure that that lamb gets that first feeding of colostrum.
Right.
That's way more work than I'm willing to do, but
Well,
um,
I
kind of
like
shows you
sheep
the importance.
that like to work, at least like to help me do a little bit of the work.
Yeah. Well, their idea there is, sometimes you don't realize until 24 hours later that that lamb wasn't nursing. And by that time, it's not beneficial even to feed them colostrum because they're not going to uptake it anymore, or not as well anyway
Yeah. Yeah.
as it would have before. Um, so
And it's probably a situation where they're living in the barn during lambing time too, and so they need
yeah.
something to do while they're in there. It's just part of the drill, part of the processing each pen of lambs.
It's still more work than I'm gonna do.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, well, another thing along that same line that I like having on hand is that baby lamb strength, from Premier
Yep,
One again.
yep, that or
Yep.
survive is what I like to have.
Okay, yeah. I'm
One
still using the baby lamb strength. I
one of
forget.
those one of those is came along from Pipestone when they merged or whatever, didn't they?
I think baby lamb strength did. Yeah. And now they have a new Survive product, which is similar but different, I guess. I don't. At one time, I would have given every new lamb a pump of that, but anymore, I just use it with weak lambs or weaker lambs or high risk lambs like triplets. If they're, what actually triplets, I usually always give it a pump of them. Just seems a little extra. There's a lot of people that do every lamb, but again, that just gets to be too much work in the lambing barn as you're processing lambs.
Yeah, I just talked to a guy the other day, and he's giving a probiotic every single lamb that's born, and I just thought, wow. I mean, I guess if you had a problem, if you're trying to fix
Yeah,
something, but
yeah,
yeah. Hey, the
yeah,
thing is, though, if it works for him, that's great. And I know
yeah,
this guy has a pretty good program, and it is
yeah,
definitely working, but
yeah,
it's another step.
yeah. Another thing to do.
Yeah.
Uh, the other thing I'll do sometimes with if I'm tube feeding weak lambs, I'll mix that baby lamb strength right into the milk replacer and tube it into them.
Okay.
The kind of an extra boost. Like if you have a lamb that you bring in and warm up because it was half dead, it's gives them that extra boost.
Yeah, that baby lamb strength is really high fat.
Okay. I know it's like readily available energy, but
Something, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it's got vitamins and other stuff in it too. I'm not even gonna
yeah,
try and say what all is in it, but I know it has vitamin E in it. That's one, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I was gonna like, what about dipping navels, that kind of stuff? I don't dip navels.
So I haven't dipped navels for years, but we were doing the Pipestone recommendation of doing 1 cc of CD&T and 1 cc of penicillin. And I was doing a podcast with a guy the other year that's like, that's dumb. Why are you doing that? So I quit, and it's been all good. So we're not doing anything. And I talked with some other guys um that aren't doing anything. So yeah.
So
But
if your bedding is clean and you're keeping your jugs dry,
yeah. I think I've had one lamb ever that had that navel ill.
yeah,
And out of how many thousand lambs that were born here. So it's
right.
kind of like, yeah, and that's why we're dipping, either dipping or doing this penicillin CD&T. And it's like, well, that's kind of dumb.
I would rather see somebody dipping or spraying navels than giving penicillin, I think.
Yeah, the thing with dipping is you have to do that within an hour of birth, I think. Very soon. As soon as that needle starts drying up, dipping them doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah.
So that's a tall ask for me. And I mean, okay, so if we're gonna dip, maybe half of our lambs we're gonna hit in that window, if even that many. In the rest, I mean, I'm not out there 24 hours in lambing.
Right.
So I
So
don't.
you're only covering a little half the base, basically. And the reason I don't like giving the idea of penicillin, I just think of that antibiotic going into that. It's where like you want that lamb to be building up its own good biome, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. That's pretty much why we stopped is the reason we were doing it is it was working good for us and I didn't have to dip and I
Yeah.
didn't want to dip again. Uh but I thought I should do something. But then once we quit, we haven't had any issues so
Yeah.
far. But yeah, so keeping your lambing barn bedded definitely helps with that.
Yeah.
Um, I guess we should mention if we are dipping, what do you use to dip for people that don't know what we're talking about?
I mean, most guys are going to be using some type of iodine,
Yeah, yeah.
which you can get it in a spray or there's something new actually that
If you're gonna do it, I'm not fond of the spray.
you get it
It's
everywhere else.
Yeah, you get it everywhere else except where you're supposed to, like, because you gotta cover that whole umbilical cord to make it worth anything. So yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't.
I
If
saw
I'm gonna do it,
Premier has a new product that says eliminates need for navel clamps, which I don't want to go that route anyway, but
yeah,
um it's to take the place of iodine. It's supposed to help dry down the navel quicker and everything else.
yeah, yeah. Well, the next thing we should probably talk about is what are you gonna do about bottle lambs? You're gonna get bottle lambs, bomber lambs, whatever you want to call them, bonus lambs, as I like
Yep.
to call them.
Yep.
You're gonna
E-
get some,
Every
or
wannabe shepherd's dream and every real shepherd's nightmare is what I like to say.
yeah, or in some flocks, they're just the lambs that don't survive, but that's leaving a
Yeah.
lot out there on the table.
Yeah. Well, we got a milk replacer here on hand and we got um buckets with nipples on. We have bottles where we try to be prepared.
Yeah, I was gonna say the the first thing to make bottle lambs easier is know you're going to them and know how you're going to feed them when you get them and be ready because that's the that's the hardest part is to get that first bottle lamb and then have to figure out what you're gonna do. Once you know what you're gonna do, you have the supplies, you're ready to go, you know you're gonna bottle feed lambs. And if you have a good bucket system or whatever, it's not that bad.
And don't let it drink off the mom for 3 days and keep thinking, "Ah, I think it's gonna work, I think it's gonna work," and then, "All right, this isn't working. It's, maybe a little bit over the hill." Not only that, and then but that is I think it's harder to get him to drink off of a
It's
bottle or bucket
it's a
the
lot.
longer you wait,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it can be a little frustrating trying to take some patience to get those
W
things started.
we, I often let them nurse, like, once so they get colostrum at least, but I think I'm even gonna quit that. If I know this lamb needs to be pulled, I think I'm gonna pull him even before it nurses, milk that ewe, tube it with colostrum, and put it up with the bottle lambs because those lambs that never nurse, boy, they take to it so easy.
Yeah.
Um, Even a lamb that was only a lamb that was on the ewe for a day isn't too bad, but they're still harder than if they never nursed. If they're on the mom for 3 days, they are a pain.
Right, right. So I
If they're
have
on the mom for a week, forget
yeah.
it.
So I have, 3 ewes that we wanna keep some lambs back from that we should have called,
Yeah,
that one totally blew out one side of her udder.
yeah,
Anyway, she's still here. So I know we're gonna have some bottle lambs, and I decide I'm just gonna pull them right off the bat
yeah,
and see if we can't have a more of a successful, bottle lamb story this year.
yeah, yeah. And so you're using the buckets for
Yeah.
your bottle lamps?
Well, I have
Mhm.
often fed them on a bottle the first day or 2 and tried to put them in
Sure.
a bucket, but
Yeah, get them started. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we have a milk machine, but it's on the blink right now, so, unless I get it fixed here real quick, we're gonna be using buckets this spring again, and we got with our Romanos, we always get a bunch of bottle lamps, so I don't know, I should see if I can get that thing going.
do you have a list of, antibiotics, that type of stuff? I know
Yeah,
I have about 3 things I like to keep on hand. Some
yeah,
type of some type of antibiotic, maybe some dexamethasone,
mhm.
something like that, or I usually even have some oxytocin here. How often do you use oxytocin?
Very little.
Yeah. I don't
Um,
use it as much as I used to, but I every now and then I get in a situation where I think maybe it helps.
yeah. I do like having it on hand. I use it occasionally, but even then, I don't know, maybe 25% of those it actually helps, I think.
Well,
But
yeah.
it's yeah, I do usually keep oxytocin on hand.
What
Uh,
about dexamethasone?
that's one I won't do without. Yeah. Dexamethasone is one I won't do without in the lambing barn.
And
It's
where
it's great for it's great for getting like ewes that are had a rough lambing and are just having a hard time to get going. It's great for that. But where we really use it is if we have mastitis
and you're
issues.
using it in conjunction with an antibiotic at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they say you should always use it in conjunction of a antibiotic because it is a steroid, so it kind of suppresses their immune system, is how it was explained to me. So I was told, and I don't know that we always do that, but I was told you should usually use it with an antibiotic. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's one I won't do without. You can also um, you can actually use that to induce ewes as well.
You have a ketosis situation or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Which I don't know. That's challenging.
it is.
Induced ewes. I've about 50% of the time I think that it actually
It's
works, but
it's
it's kind of
easier
the
to
last
manage.
ditch resort.
Yeah, I think it's easier to manage so that you don't have the problem than it is to
Yeah,
try to fix that one. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah. So
So
yeah.
dexamethasone, it's a steroid, so it's anti-inflammatory. It's almost like a Tylenol too. If you have the ewe that had maybe trouble lambing or something,
Mhm.
um, especially if you pulled lambs, it's not a bad idea to get them on a little antibiotic,
Yeah,
and that dexamethasone I think helps
yeah,
them feel better,
yeah,
take some of that inflammation down too.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's one. But then as far as antibiotics go, penicillin, I still always like to keep that on hand. If you had a difficult birth where you had to get in and really move, get in and move those lambs around and pull them, and where there's a chance that you might have messed something up in the ewe, always give her that. If it's just a light, a lamb need a little help getting its shoulders out, I don't worry about it. But anytime I really have to get in there and turn a lamb around, I'll give the ewe penicillin just to prevent any infections.
Yeah,
So
and
my rule of thumb is penicillin works for infections. That's about it.
right. It's not something you're gonna get for pneumonia, in other words.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I, kinda look at it. And then not only if the got messed up, we hope not,
Right.
but if you introduce something
Bacteria.
bacteria, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Talking about pulling lambs, I like to keep some OB gloves on hand, the long sleeve
Yeah.
gloves. I will often even put, like, a nitrile glove over my hand after I have that glove on. I think for myself anyway, it's tighter. I think you can feel better,
Hmm.
and you don't end up poking your finger through the OB glove as quick.
That's a good idea. I might have to get that. Yeah, that's something I'd forgot about. I don't pull a lot of lambs.
Well,
I really don't.
I
No,
don't
I know you don't either, but you need to be prepared for that.
probably
Because
the box of
get
OB gloves, now that I think about it, it might be 10 years 10 years
yeah,
old. Like, it's one of those boxes that you can pop the little hole out and they keep feeding out,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, one of them. Yeah, so with that, you're gonna need some lube as well. You always want to use plenty of lube.
right, Premier has that super lube something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What do you use, like, if you have to sort lambs out and pull, like, more than your average just little pull? I mean, 90% of them that you need to pull, you can just get a hold of their hoof or whatever with your hand and just pull them out. But what do you use? Do you have any of those snares?
I do.
Yeah.
Um, I probably only used it once or twice over the years, but I
Yeah.
went through my lambing stuff here. I went through the cupboard I have there in the barn, and oh yeah, there it is. It's a nice, has rounded off, kind of has a little cable or cord loop that goes through it. You can pull on it,
Yeah.
and the handle it's all rounded off nice, so very very low risk of injury. It's
Yeah.
I can't say I ever had a situation where I just like wouldn't want to be without it. Like I said, I only used it about two times,
Yeah.
but
It doesn't work as well as you would think it.
if you had smaller hands, I mean, usually my hands are big enough to I don't have room to fish something else in there. It
Well,
seems like
but that's where I've used it already though, is if it's a big lamb, and you just can't get your hand in over its head.
Well, you'll push it in over top, kind of.
You can push
Yeah.
that cable in over top. It's kind of a nice tool to have just in case. I might use mine every other year or something like that. And then when I do use it, it's nice to have it. Um, I also like to have one of those lambing, like the same chains they use for cattle. Actually, I keep them on hand because if you get into a tough situation where you're sorting out triplets and stuff, they can be really nice.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, that's kind of the extent of my what I have for difficult birth. But
Yeah, and it is good um to wear gloves when you're doing this kind of stuff.
yeah,
You can get sick,
yeah,
especially if you have a ewe that has maybe aborted lambs or something. I don't know off the top of my head what the bacteria is, but I've heard of it making people
yeah,
sick.
yeah. Those are the worst. Lambs that were or lambs that were kind of mummified
Oh yeah.
and they're dead and their legs are all bent weird and stiff and
Yeah.
they
Or
usually have triplets. Oh, you get one of those every once in a while. It's just like, ugh, those are terrible. Anyway, that's enough of the terrible stuff.
right.
I think one other back to the antibiotics, you should have something a little stronger for respiratory issues or I use Nuflor a lot for mastitis issues. I'll use a combination of Nuflor, penicillin, and dexamethasone for mastitis.
Right.
Um, so yeah, you probably want something. You should have something on hand stronger than penicillin, something more along the line for respiratory diseases.
Right. Res floor, new floor. There's res floor I think has some steroid with it maybe.
It has Banamine with
Banamine, that's what it is.
yeah. It's actually not well, maybe it is. It's
It might not be a steroid.
I know I don't use that. I have the Banamine on hand separate. Part of the reason I don't use it is I know Dr. Kennedy always said Banamine doesn't work well with sheep in most situations. And also the rest floor is really thick and syrupy. It's a pain to work with. So,
I do
and I
remember.
think the new floor is a little cheaper. So I like new floor better, but that's my personal. My that's always like, why don't you use the rest floor? It has Banamine in it. I don't know. I like my new floor better.
Yeah.
So I think that about covers it. That's everything I'd written down. Probably a couple things I forgot about that I'll think about once we get to lambing.
Right. We covered ear tags, we covered bottle lambs, covered lambing problems, antibiotics, that kind of stuff to have on hand. I think, yeah, Matt and I both, since our flocks are in NSIP, we weigh every lamb at birth, so we have a little scales, whether it's I got a little fish like you weigh your bass with, a little
Yeah.
spring one and a little digital one. Um, what are you using? Are you using one of you lamb rights, one of Dan Turner's lamb rakes to weigh your lambs, or are you using one of his slings?
No, I'm using the lamb rape. I love that thing. Yeah. Yeah, they're way better than the slings.
Yeah, they're definitely easier to.
Just-
You gotta get them under the lamb's belly, and then you gotta grab the other side with those slings.
Yeah.
If you want one of those lamb rakes, check out Dan Turner's website, ULAM Right Farms, probably ulamrightfarms.com. Google ULAM Right Farms, it should come up. Or give us a call here at Lost Creek Wholesale and I can get you fixed up. But
Yeah.
that's a pretty slick little tool there. You can scoop a
Yeah.
lamb right up with it, hang it on the scales.
He always
Yeah.
gives that's the only thing I use him for. He always gives me a hard time because he designed those to make it easier to carry lambs and have the mom follow you
Right.
because you can scoop up if you have two of them, you can scoop up a lamb with each hand, and then they hang down further, and the mom will follow after
That's what
better. But
that's what
I
Mac
always have to go find them.
yeah.
The
Well, you should
lamb ring.
you should be able to find yours. Yours are hot pink.
No, those are my wife's.
Oh, you both got a set of them.
Yeah, yeah, I did buy 2 for her for that reason,
Yeah,
to scoop up and carry lambs. So those are my wife's. I
gotcha.
the only one I have is yellow, and I have my scales attached to
Yeah, that's what mine is. Mine's like
it.
almost John Deere yellow, probably.
Yeah, yeah,
Mine's probably still a prototype. Dan, if
yeah.
you're listening, you should probably, like, give me one of the real virgin ones by
The
now.
new and
The new
improved
and
ones.
improved, yeah.
No,
Anyway,
those things are slick. Yeah,
they are.
yeah.
Definitely. Actually, I should just put a link in the show notes he has them there on his website. One of our regular listeners, John McCabe, we had him on way early in the podcast. He had some quote we talked about what was it? Mastitis problems maybe or something.
I don't
Anyway, he shout out to John McCabe, but he had made this little cart recently, like that you can put two lambs in and pull them from like maybe they're out in a drop. I know you have a drop pen or something out
okay.
side where you put your lambs in there and you can pull this little cart in. It's like a little single handled, two wheeled thing, a little basket on it basically
Yeah,
that you can pull them in through to your lambing jugs. And since he sent me a picture of it, I seen Richie, what's the yeah, I think it's just Richie. Richie
Richie.
had something
Yeah.
made something almost right like it. So I'm not sure if John copied them or he copied or they copied John, but anyway, that's
Huh.
another idea way to carry lambs around.
Yeah, yeah. My philosophy is don't carry them farther than you have to. Have your lambing jugs right where they drop them.
Oh, yeah. One other thing I thought of is it's not a bad idea to have a good old handy thermometer on hand, not so much for the lamb side, but maybe you have that ewe that's not taken off right.
Yep.
Maybe she didn't clean right, maybe she got some mastitis. Um,
That's something I don't use as much as I should. And even for little lambs, it can tell you a lot in what's going on.
well, I don't use one hardly ever, but when I have people calling me and asking questions, so number one, I'm not a vet, I can't diagnose something. And a vet can't even diagnose something over the phone. But if you start asking questions, you ask all the typical questions. All right, so I have a ewe that's doing this and this. All right, well, is she gonna lamb? Did she lamb? How soon will she lamb? All those questions. You got to figure out where she is in her cycle. And well, she lambed. Well, it could be this, this, this. Well, if you would find out if she has a fever, you
Yeah.
can kind of start. You can start kind of rolling some things out.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's kind of the same way for me is you kind of I mean, you get into this habit of and it's not all bad, as you learn your sheep better, you just kind of know, well, this is this what is wrong with this animal. You go treat it.
Right.
So you're not using your thermometer as much, but you then I catch myself, well, yeah, why didn't I just check? Was that lamb running a fever that you um could have caught it quicker? So yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a good thing to have on hand.
Yep. Well, I'm sure we missed something, but kind of a little rundown of what are some good things to keep on hand.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe we'll do another one later on once we get into lambing and kind of how we do the lambing process might be. I don't know if we've ever really, I guess we've done that a little bit.
way back at the beginning,
Yeah. Maybe we
I
could
think maybe our
run
second
through that again.
episode,
Yeah.
lambing time, how we do it. That would be episode 2, I believe.
Okay. I might have to look back. Maybe I'll learn something.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a wrap for the lambing discussion. So you should see lambs pretty soon there too, Matt. I forget, did you say how soon when's your lambing start?
My really expensive lambs are gonna be in about 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. Sometime maybe we should talk about how that AI and embryos work all went. You don't want to talk about that, I know, but
It's yeah, yeah, we
kind
should.
of kind of discouraging.
A little discouraging, but
Yeah. Well,
hey,
maybe we
but it's
can
one of those things.
let's
So
see let's
that's
see
my
how
really expensive lambs that'll come here. Well, third week of July, so 2 weeks probably, two and a half.
well let's see how many lambs show up. Then maybe you'll feel better about it and you want to talk about it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. That
all
yeah
right, very good. Nice chatting again, Matt. We'll see you.
was yep.